Hello, my name is Akhil. I'm a first year undergraduate student studying physics. In this video, I'll be talking about numerical methods. Numerical methods. Numerical methods are mostly used to find solutions to equations or sets of equations which may not have exactly one solution or two solutions, but the number of solutions may have to be approximated. The solution may have to be approximated. For example, you can take the example of the Taylor expansion of sine theta, which is given as theta minus theta cube by 3 factorial, theta raised to 5 by 5 factorial, theta raised to 7 by 7 factorial, so on and so forth. So as you can see, for some values of theta, for example, theta which are very close to 0, the answer stops at 0, or the answer comes out to be theta, since theta cube, which is will tend to 0 since the integer is in the terms of 0 point something. So when this number is squared or cubed, it will be a very small number. So this can be taken as an example of a numerical method, how we use approximations to solve equations and solutions and get solutions. So one of the problems in physics which I'll be uh, which this video will consist of is the motion of a simple harmonic oscillator. Simple harmonic oscillator. So how does this motion look like? You can assume a wall attached to a spring, and this spring is connected to a block. This entire system is placed on a frictionless ground, and when this block is given a certain velocity or is displaced from its equilibrium position, which is the state of rest of this spring. Assuming that the natural length of this spring is L, at any point less than or greater than L, the spring force will act upon the block. So, for example, this the new the new position of the block is L less than its rest position. So this block will experience a force KL towards the positive x direction. This happens because of this spring. The spring exerts a force on the block, which is which was discovered by Hooke, Robert Hooke. Now, on solving these, on now, um, trying to solve this equation, Now, on solving these equations, we get this expression d square. Newton's second law, it can be proved that uh, the force acting on the mass, where d square x by dt square is the term used for acceleration, the second derivative of displacement, is equal to kx, and there will be a negative sign attached to it because the force will always act opposite to the displacement. So this is an example of a solution. Uh, this is the equation which we will try to solve using numerical methods. And to simplify our aim and our goal, and since we are not focusing a lot on what the equation says, rather the method we use it to solve it, I'll be taking k by m equal to 1 just for solving the problem. So then this equation turns out to be d square x by dt square equals minus x. So how do you solve such an equation? And some of you may know that the solution to this equation is in the terms of e to the power alpha t, where x is equal to this expression. But this is just one situation where this answer is available. What if this equation be extremely convoluted and extremely hard to work with? And such equations do exist, and we use numerical methods specifically to solve those problems. But this turns out to be a nice working example to start getting your hands dirty with numerical examples, numerical methods of solving such problems. So there are a lot of numerical methods available at, to choose from, and the one we'll be using today is the most basic numerical method. It's called Euler's method. So the equation of a function using Euler's method, we must be given the values of the function at a point. So let's assume that the function is f of x and f is dependent on x. X is an independent variable. Independent variable. And we need to know, let a be a point. We need to know the value of f at a. Let's say it's alpha. And we need to know the value of f dash, which is the first derivative of x at a. Let's say it's beta. Once we have these two um, numbers, we can calculate the value of f of x plus delta x. How is this possible? Uh, Assuming x is the point a, value of f of a, which is some arbitrary point which is equal to alpha, and we know the value of f of a, f dash of a, which is an arbitrary point, again a is the arbitrary point, and f dash is the first derivative of the function which is dependent on x. So we can use this method to find the value of f of a plus delta x, where delta x is a small increment in the value of x. So our original function would look like f of x, which is equal to something, but of f of a plus delta x, and using the equation as given by Euler's method is f of a plus f dash a times delta x, which is equal to alpha plus beta times delta x. Why does this why does this equation work? Why does f of a plus delta x equal to alpha plus beta times delta x, where alpha is the value of f at a and beta is the first derivative of f at a? So why does this equation come out? And if some of you may have noticed, this is an equation of a straight line. So what the method suggests us to do is to approximate curves or any function as approximately small lines, and the accuracy of this prediction of this method to solve problems depends a lot upon what is the step size. This value right here is called the step size. So to give an example, let's assume a graph such as this. A graph such as this. This is the graph of y equals e raised to x. So as you can see that this is definitely a curved graph, right? But when we select a very short segment of this graph, for example this segment, and write it in a bigger fashion, it turns out to be approximately a straight line. So how do you find out this approximation? And you must also note that the difference between these values is delta x. This has to be delta x. So how do we solve this? So this is our original curve. Okay, let's take this to be some value. So this is y x. This is y x plus delta x. This is x. This is x plus delta x. So hence this value is delta x. So this almost looks like a straight line, and this is exactly the concept which the method builds on. So first we find out, so how do we define this line? Why does this expression, as you may recall, f of a plus delta x is equal to f of a plus beta, which is actually f dash of a times delta x. So we have to derive this formula, and I hope by the end of this video I can prove to you that convince you that this is exactly what this expression was trying to say. So assume this is a curve and I want to find the value of yx plus delta x. So I can do it by first figuring out the slope of this line. Since we are assuming this to be a straight line will definitely have a slope. So how do we figure out the straight line? The slope of the straight line by yx plus delta x upon delta x. Now this is the slope. Now as delta x approaches an infinitesimal small size, as delta x approaches 0, so on applying this limit, y of x plus delta x minus y of x upon delta x becomes dy by dx. and the value of dy by dx at this point would be this dy by dx at x. Now, now we have got the slope of this line. So what would be the initial point of this line? The initial point would be y of x. So hence y of x plus delta x can be written this way as well. Assume a line, write the initial point on the line plus dy by dx times delta x. And why do we multiply delta x? Because it would give the change in y for the change in delta x, since dy by dx is the rate of change in y for a given change in x. So by multiplying delta x, we'll be calculating the change in y. So the initial y plus the change in y will give you the final position of the y. This is the equation. So now you've understood what Euler's method basically says. So how can we implement that into our initial position equation d square y by dt square is equal to minus y. So what we'll give, so Euler's method are usually solved by computers. They can be done by hand as well, and it doesn't require. So we'll be choosing the easy path. Giving the problem to a computer will be a lot easier than solving it by hand, since there are a lot of data points, and you can also see the accuracy increasing as we reduce the step size. So first we'll have to say what is y0, which is y at time 0, a block which is 4. So we can easily calculate the force uh, acting on the block at a given time. So we can calculate the second derivative of y, which is the acceleration of the block, which will itself equal minus 4. Now once we have the second derivative, let's take this variable as a at time equals 0, it is equal to minus 4. Now we have a at 0, we have y at 0. We can also calculate, so now we have to predict what would y be at 0 plus delta t. Isn't that the whole point of the exercise? Since we want to predict what would y be when delta t time passes by. So using Euler's method, this would come out to be y plus 0 times y dash 0 times delta t. What is y dash 0? Again, we'll need y dash 0 as y dash 0 is equal to 0 because the initial velocity of the block is 0. So at a small time delta t, y of 0 is still minus 4. Now what about y plus, now it's at time delta t. Now I want to predict what would it be when a second delta t time passes by. So this would be y at delta t plus y dash delta t times delta t. So what is y delta t? It is minus 4, and y dash delta t is y dash delta t has to be calculated. Y dash delta t is y dash 0 plus y double dash delta t times delta t. Y dash double dash y dash delta t is minus 4. So this is minus 4. Delta t is a some value. So now we have this value. This is 0. Let's take initial velocity of the block is 0. So now we have a non-zero value for y dash delta t, which is minus 4 times delta t. So we'll put this value in this equation. We'll get the value of y, right? And that was the point of the exercise. So we keep doing this for n times delta t. So n steps, time steps. And the total amount of time can be regulated using a computer software. We can see how long does this program last, and we can see the curve coming to life. So let's try doing that. So this is the code which I have written. This is the function. Euler XP is the function, and we'll see how it. So in it, first I'll explain to you what it does. So it first divides time into different intervals, and then it defines one time step. So one time step is 0.04. So this is the value delta t which it took, and we then define vectors, which is a velocity vector, displacement vector, and so this is my code. H is the step size, which is delta t, and capital N is the number of steps I want to run this program for. So first we have to decide the initial conditions of this system, because the theory of the differential equation says to solve a differential equation of the nth order we need n initial conditions. So first I define my x1, which is the initial displacement, as 2, my initial velocity as 0. So now I create this loop, for loop, for those who have uh, done a bit of programming. This is a for loop, and then x2 is the second derivative of x, and I have taken my omega, which is the angular velocity, as 1. And as you can see, x2 is defined, x2 at nth step is defined by x at the nth step, as we had discussed earlier. X is defined in a similar fashion, as well as x1, and all these follow the same rule of linear approximations, which is how Euler's method works. So on running this program, you may see this graph, and this is definitely not what you may have expected, because most of you may have seen how an SHM graph looks like. Especially the displacement time graph looks uh, a bit of a wave function with a same amplitude. But in this scenario, the amplitude is increasing. So this is a very interesting outcome, and I have a reasonable explanation to give you as to why this occurs. But first, we should see how the real SHM looks like. So this is the true value, the true nature of the SHM graph, and this looks like this. So as you can see, numerical methods help us solve such equations, and so for every given data point, the computer has solved this for us. This could also have been done by hand, but the method is more important. So there are several more better methods. Like this method is the Euler-Kromer method, which was used to solve this graph. So for those enthusiasts, for those people who are interested in knowing why this error occurred, basically what the program did was to calculate the value of y at a time delta t. So let's write this in terms of x, since the program uh, wrote it in terms of x. So to find the value of the displacement at a time t, it needed an initial condition, the derivative of x at the initial condition, and multiplied it by delta t. So the first round of equations, so the first time step is very clear, because this we have already supplied into the equation. This we know, the initial velocity is 0, the initial position is -4. So we already know the value of x at delta t. But the problem begins when it is xt plus delta t. So xt plus delta t expects you to know the value of x at a time t, x dash at a time t, and then multiply it by delta t. So what is x at a time t? X at a time t might be x of t minus delta t plus. So xt plus delta t expects you to know the value of x dash t, which is the velocity at time t. We somehow may know the value of x at t since that is the previous iteration. The program may have already gone through that iteration. So to find the value of x dash at t, the program may have to call on the velocity function again. So by calling it, it will again approximate it. So xt minus delta t plus x double dash t minus delta t times delta t. So to know the value of the velocity at a time t, the program will need the value of x dash at t minus delta t, which again is part of the previous iteration. So the program will definitely know the value of t minus delta x dash at t minus delta t, but it may also know the want the value of x dash t minus delta t, which can also be computed since x dash t minus delta t is nothing but minus y times t minus delta t, which can also be provided. But how does the error creep in? Why does the amplitude increase? So my explanation to that problem is, since we are using an approximation inside of an approximation, the error increases. So since x dash at t is itself an approximation, and we are using this x dash t as an approximation for this x, hence our error gets